Hello and welcome back to my next video. This video is a career video and it is on former heavyweight contender Al Kaufman, who didn't have the largest career as you can see, but we'll go through it nonetheless, after which he'll join my heavyweight playlist. So looking at his major opponents, now he didn't have a massive career but he had quite a decent resume for a small career. Al Kaufman fought a trilogy of fights with all-time great Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, scoring 2 wins with 1 loss and no draw. He also fought and defeated former light heavyweight champion George Gardner. Clash Royale Pro, good to see you. He also fought and lost to one of the great heavyweight champions, Jack Johnson, also gaining a win over capable contender Mike Shrek. Next up was one of the Sullivan brothers, this being Jack Twin Sullivan. Al Kaufman defeated him, and he twice fought fireman Jim Flynn, scoring 1 win, 1 loss and no draw from those 2 fights. Next up, he also held singular wins over Jim Barry, Australian heavyweight Bill Lang, who was involved in one of the most comical stories with Sam Langford ever. I'll just quickly tell it. So Bill Lang, fighting Langford. So, Lang's manager's like, oh, come on, let's go to his camp. You can unsettle him. Lang had a large weight advantage. He was a rising prospect, highly thought of. So his manager said, no, go to Langford's camp, unsettle the guy, put pressure on him before fight and all this. So Al Kaufman Bill Lang goes to Langford's camp, and Langford spies him. Langford's getting ready to spar, and he spies Bill Lang coming into camp, and some people gathering around Bill Lang and all this. So Langford's not impressed. So first sparring partner, right, comes out, and Langford throws, boom, a massive right hand, just plants this poor kid right in face. First shot Langford throws, and he flattens him like a tree. So Bill Lang, watching this, looks at Langford, and Langford's smiling and he winks at him. As if to say, yeah mate, that's what you're getting. When Bill Lang got in ring, he went on run. If you watch footage, he went on run. The much smaller, lighter Langford is, holding ring centre, trying to chase him down. But yeah, comical story. And Bill Lang, to say after that, was totally psyched out. Anyway, next up for Al Kaufman, fights and defeats fellow heavyweight contender Al Kubiak. He also fights and loses to Luther McCarthy, and then to close out his main opponents, he twice fought heavyweight contender Tony Ross, scoring wins in both. Good evening, Martin, and good evening, Josh Taylor. So from that small career, there are 15 fights highlighted there. Al Kaufman scored 11 wins with 4 losses and no draws. So not a massive career, but quite a good career for a short number. Who knows what he'd have done had he been, having 60, 70 fights, who knows. But on to his stats, Al Kaufman scored 16 knockouts. He scored 6 KOs in 3 rounds or less, and he also scored 5 first-round wins. Now, he scored 1 KO against champion, 0 KOs against Hall of Famers, and 1 KO against pound for pounders. Al Kaufman, of course, as a pre-rating era fighter, scored no KOs over rated opponents. Now, Al Kaufman fought 262 career rounds. He fought 10 title fight rounds, and he fought totals of 53 rounds against champions, 39 rounds against Hall of Famers, and 53 rounds against pound for pound fighters. Kaufman fought no rounds against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters, or ring champions, of course, being a pre-rating era fighter. So going on to his slide against champions, Kaufman had 5 fights against champions. That included 3 wins, 2 losses, no draws. He beat 2 individual champions, them being Philadelphia Jack O'Brien and George Gardner, and he scored knockout or stoppage over one of those 2 champions, that being George Gardner. And when we go on to the Hall of Fame category, he has 4 fights against Hall of Famers, including 2 wins, 2 losses, no draw. The one Hall of Famer he did defeat, George Gardner's not in the Hall yet. He may join at some future point, we'll see, after which Kaufman's numbers will be upgraded. But at the moment he's beaten 1, that being Philadelphia Jack O'Brien. He scored knockout over no Hall of Famers individually. And on to the pound-for-pound category. Okay, Kaufman had 5 fights against pound-for-pounders with a record of 3 wins, 2 losses, no draw. He defeated 2 pound-for-pounders, the same champions he beat, Jack O'Brien and George Gardner, and he scored, of course, a stoppage over George Gardner, but not Jack O'Brien, so he has one pound-for-pounder knocked out individually. Big shout out to Bruce in the chat. Good to see all of you guys as usual. Yeah, just to let everybody know, I put a lot of work in today on my heavyweight fantasy fights I uploaded. I was going to go for a point-based system, but I thought to decide heavyweight champion it should be a tournament. So I've put the slides up showing the results of a 32-man heavyweight tournament. We got to the final, Laddie Holmes against Sam McVeigh. On the final, I've done a 15-round breakdown of the fight. Laddie Holmes won it, so in my fantasy heavyweight division, Laddie Holmes is now heavyweight champion. My ratings are building now, so future community posts on that will have a number of non-title fights where the heavyweights are fighting each other to fight up the ratings, and then there will be a heavyweight title fight. But what I'll do with the heavyweight title fight is I will put that on a separate post. So I'll do the fantasy fight card with the results, and then I will do a singular community post for the heavyweight title fight, because typing it all out, it may go 3 rounds, it may be short, it may go 15 rounds, so depending on who is fighting and how tough they are. So that's what I'm going to do. Over the coming few weeks, I'm going to add another 1 or 2 divisions, and what I'll do is I'll just go down the list. Okay, so next I'll add cruiserweight, after that I'll add light heavyweight, then I'll start the process on them as well, until over time I've got all 17 divisions active. So I'll do community posts showing the results of the non-title fights, then I'll do individual community posts featuring the title fights for the different champions in the different divisions. So anyway, back onto video now. So we go to Al Kaufman. Of course, he has no fights against rated opponents, so he has no fights against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters, or ring champions. Now, obviously, he then defeated no rated fighters and scored knockouts over 0 rated fighters. But of course, fighters like Shrek, Gardner, Jack O'Brien, and them would have been rated. He would have had a number of fights against rated opponents. It's just sad we don't have that information. Otherwise, it would all be catalogued and I would be able to provide it for you. But one thing I never do on my channel is hypothesize and speculate like too many people do. Facts only, please. So when we come to title fights, Al Kaufman had 1 title fight. Sorry, I've left the 0 there, but he did have that 1 title fight in those 10 rounds. It was a defeat. Okay, so of course with no title wins, he made no defences, scored no title fight KOs. He also scored no wins against rated opponents in title fights. Then obviously no wins against champions, Hall of Famers and pound-for-pounders in title fights. So going on to the slide of titles, he was never awarded a belt. Having no title fight wins means he captured 0 world titles, also capturing no lineal titles or no undisputed titles. Yes, to Josh Taylor, you mentioned Barney Ross to me. I'll just explain. When I started my career playlists off, I was purely doing fighters from 1890 to 1910. When I restarted this channel, I thought, no, well, most of the fighters 1890 to 1930, by the time I cover them, most of the fighters who lack any form of rating information or partial rating information, most of them will be done. So that is the era I'm focusing on, 1890 to 1930, which is why all kinds of fighters like Kaufman and Jack O'Brien and Langford Greb, all those have come, they fought in that period. Barney Ross will come at the end of this period when I start adding fighters in, because Barney Ross is rated in my 1930 to 1950 era, obviously fighting in the 30s as he did. So Barney Ross will actually feature in that period, so he won't be coming anytime yet. Pretty much most of this year, if not all of this year, is going to be focused on that 1 period as I drive through it, adding as many fighters as I can this year. So the playlists, especially the main 8 divisions, I'm mainly focusing on. I'll add other fighters in, like I added Calzaghe recently, and other fighters across other divisions. But mainly it's going to be the 8 divisions I'm wanting to start filling up to get a significant number of videos on each. And, I am focusing on that period. But Barney Ross will come at some point, as will, all the other fighters from the periods following 1930. I've only done the odd video here or there. I think I've done 2 or 3 videos outside that period at request, but I'm not going to get into the habit of doing requests, because otherwise I find what I found on my old channel is at one point I was doing requests on there, and I was just getting so many requests I couldn't keep track of them all. So I put on my last channel, I put a blocking saying, right, I'm not doing requests now. If someone mentions something, I think, yeah, I'll do that, I'll do it. But other than that, but yeah, I appreciate the fact you like the Charles Bud Taylor video. He was a great fighter and deserves all the credit in the world. But he also was in the 1910-1930 period, rated in my system. So, you know, that made doing him easy. He was going to be done anyway at some point. So there is Al Kaufman, heavyweight contender, you know, as well as the world champions, as well as the Hall of Famers, as well as fighters who've kind of even cemented themselves as all-time greats within the Hall. You know, ultimately we have to do many at contenders as well. So when the playlists are built and finished, not only can you see the major fighters, but you can also investigate the careers of many of the fighters they fought. Okay, that is one thing I'm trying to get done this time. So there's my latest video. Okay, big shout out to everyone in chat. More heavyweight results should be coming tomorrow, and Larry Holmes' first title defence on my community page. But videos continue going forward. I'm the Boxing Librarian. I'm out for now.